Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sideboard Files, HEDRON.TV. Manuel here, your host as usual, and I'm joined once again by the one and only Joshua Bausch. Welcome back.
Hello, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely a pleasure. It's good to have you back, and it's good to talk about Legacy again.
Yeah.
My favorite format. I said it before, I will say it again. And the deck of choice this time is Aluren. We will have a close look to your sideboard configuration, Joshua, when you run Aluren, and also the sideboard plans when you face Esper Deathblade and red-green lands. But before doing all this, as usual, let's have a quick look at your main deck configuration. What's the plan of this deck, and what are the core cards of the deck?
As you can see of the list, I play the bug version. There are a difference between the bug version and other Aluren versions. That's I play Leovold.
Okay.
Everybody knows Leovold by now, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, but we show it on screen anyway.
Yeah, this creature is kind of insane because it prevents comboing from happening at your opponent's turn. At the card selection, like upon a brainstorm from your opponent, like gets like can't do anything anymore.
Yeah, shuts those cards down.
But it's for you. It's like it don't hinder you at the combo, because I will explain now how it works. The deck is built around about Aluren. It's the enchantment, a 4-mana green enchantment, green, and 2. Creature with commander was 3 or less can be played with no mana costs.
For free, basically.
For free.
At instant speed.
At instant speed. At instant speed is relevant because then you can't get killed by any removal if you play it right. And it combos with 2 creatures. The Cavern Harpier, it's a black, blue, 2/1 flying creatures that when it enters the battlefield, you have to put black or a blue permanent back to your hand. So if you play it just without any permanents, you have to bounce it back to your hand because it's black or blue. And when it's on the battlefield, you can pay 1 life to get it back to your hand. Then there is the other combo piece. It's a Parasitic Strix. It's an artifact, 3-mana, 2/2 flying blue creature. That's when it's played and you have a black permanent to play, your opponent lose 2 life and you gain 2 life. So with you play it, have the Strix, put it back to your hand, play it again, and so on and so on. You drain your opponent for 2, gain 2 life, and just pay 1 to bounce the Strix back to the Cavern Harpy back to your hand. So it's a loop, your infinite loop, and at some point your opponent is dead.
Yeah, sure. You chain this sequence, you chain these effects, and
yes, you chain these effects, and then
you win at instant speed.
Yeah, you win at instant speed. Then the deck is built around about more valuing creature. My version plays the Shardless Agent. It's an artifact creature like the Parasitic Strix. I think artifact is really relevant in this deck because I come later to that. Right now, this Shardless Agent is a green-blue creature that has Cascade. The 3-mana creature, it's do some value, finds you the Cavern Harpier, finds you more, I don't know, removal, card selection, and like Ponder Brainstorm and like other creatures, Deathrite Shaman, for example. It makes just value, and at some point it finds you the combo when you're having Aluren and searching for the Parasitic Strix. Normally, if you have your combo, you first need to find a Parasitic Strix because it's the only card that's hard to find in the deck.
Okay.
And we play the Baleful Strix. It's a blue-black creature with flying and death touch, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw 1 card. It's also an artifact. Because artifact matters is the Glintness Crane you're playing. Glintness Crane is like I think the best creature in the deck. I don't know why, because everyone is afraid of this card.
Okay.
Because a 1/3 flyer for 1 in the blue, when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library and take 1 artifact out of your hand, out there into your hand.
Okay.
In total, you play 10 artifacts, so you hit almost every 2 or 1.5 times, I think.
Sure, it's very efficient.
Yeah, it's very efficient
with this configuration of creatures.
Yes, and that's the cards that finds you the Parasitic Strix. When you have Aluren and you always do the Shardless and Cavern Harpy interaction, then you try to find the Crane, because then you can efficiently find your Parasitic Strix. for the combo kill, because it looks 4 cards, puts it down, then you bounce it looks 4 cards, puts it
Sure,
down.
you can bounce it back, use it again, and every time you
Yes.
dig for 4. So yes.
Yes, and you play 2 parasitic tricks, so you normally find them. And when you do Shard's Agent, you see a lot of cards, and at some point you know where it is in your deck, and then you can just look for it. And then we have some other cards like Ponder Brain, some card selection cards. You have Deathblade Shaman for sure, because it's a mana ramp. You're low cost 4.
Yeah, such
And
an efficient and great creature. Yeah,
probably the best card in Legacy right now.
yeah. At least among the best cards
Yes,
in
at least
Legacy, if not
it's
the best
definitely
card.
top 3. I don't
Yeah.
know, but right now I don't know which cards competes with them.
Yeah, totally understand, and I agree with you. I agree with your assertion here.
And then
So-
you have Forcible for
Yeah.
protection.
Okay, so yeah, Forcible for protection, Brainstorm and Ponder for manipulating the deck. You have the key creatures, you have the enchantment. That's essentially going to be, well, this is not going to be, but this is the core of the deck.
Mm.
And this is a deck that wins with a combo, but can also win with a sort of plan B. Not necessarily wins with the combo. You can play a longer game, you can grind out. So you also have that kind of strategy you can apply when you think it's relevant, or when your combo was disrupted for it's been disrupted for some reason. All right, so we see that the core of the deck is very defined. This is what I wanted to say. But there's still little room for flexi slots. So
Yes.
what are yours?
I cut one of the 4 Ponders because I like Traverse the Overworld. It's a card that costs 1 green, and it says Delirium on it. So if you don't have Delirium, you just do search one of your basic lands. That's one part of Aluren. You play 3 basic lands because Blood Moon is the thing, and Wasteland also because you need to get to 4 mana. And then you can find your basic lands, or with Delirium, and there is artifacts come in handy because it's always the 4th type in your graveyard, or one of the 4th or 5th types. Then you can find any creature out of your deck or any land. So out of the sideboard, for example, Caracas, you can search for it with this card. Or
Sure, very true.
you can find Parasitic Strix, or I don't know, you need a fetch land because you need an Underground Sea. You can search an Underground Sea or the fetch land for it. And the other thing is, I play Pre-Abrupt Decay's main. I still think there are many permanents you had to get rid of, and right now it's not more counterbalance because, as we all know, counterbalance is not the deck anymore because since the Divining Top is banned and Legacy.
Yeah, it seems that it's coming back somehow, though. I saw on the internet, on
there is
very renowned forums, discussions about a topless version.
Yes, they want to have their miracle triggers to draw from the top. But there is no more counterbalance. Even if they play their, topless miracle decks, there is no counterbalance.
Yeah, sure.
Counterbalance involved, and that's the one card that was annoying to play around. But still, you play against it, and you could beat it.
Mm-hmm.
But right now there are permanents like Blood Moon, Pithing Needle. I don't know. You have the equipments like the swords or the Jita. You have to get rid of it because if they stay, you will probably lose because that's the strategy of your opponent.
Yeah, sure. No, totally understand. And equipment is very efficient against your creatures as well. So you want to get rid of it.
And some people trim on the combo creatures. Some play 3 Cavern Hub. I play 4. You can make arguments for playing the second Clinton's Crane because it finds so many and as I said, it's the best creature. but I like 4 of the Harpiers, and just 1 Crane I think is enough.
Okay, so you want to go for a list that ensures more consistency somehow.
Yes.
When it's about the combo pieces, the key creatures, and you're still happy with 3 Abrupt Decay. We will discuss just a little bit later because you have Abrupt Decay, the 4th one in Sideboard, so you have access to all 4 decays if you want to have the playset.
Yes.
Okay, I would say that's it for the main deck. We covered it all. Unless you have other flexi slots you want to talk about, well, I don't think so.
No, that's the core, and this.
Yeah, the rest is a bit trimming trimming the Abrupt Decay or trimming the Ponder, depending on the meta you're going to face, and these are definitely the meta calls. All right, okay, let's jump then to the sideboard, and here we go 2 Cobble Therapy, 2 Fairy Macabre, 2 Fatal Push, 1 Dread of Night, 1 Surgical Extraction, 2 Mind Break Trap, 2 Carpet of Flowers, sorry. Deterioro Brusco, that's in Spanish.
One Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, 1 Abrupt Decay, 1 Graphic Cage, and 1 Caracas. Okay, this sideboard. What kind of sideboard is that? What kind of reasoning is behind it? Is it a sideboard that helps you in, let's say, very specific matchups, maybe the worst matchups, and you want to somehow compensate when you play your games post side? Is this a sideboard tuned for a special meta game? Is it a sideboard that tries to cover everything? I don't know. You tell me.
That's more like a anti-combo oriented sideboard because of the ban of
Sensei's Dividing Top.
Just almost the combo decks profited all of this because no fair deck, because this deck, the counterbalance deck, put it in, and they can't just rise to the top because there's always a counterbalance top combo that's, I don't know, for against Storm, Elves, Reanimator. They struggled all with this kind of combo, with this kind of deck. And right now they are just like, I think, the most popular and most the best decks, I think, in Legacy.
Yeah, okay, I understood. And so the disappearing of Miracle Control just set all these other decks free.
Opens the door for these decks.
Okay.
And I think because Aluren is, I think, the best in a fair meta game, because everyone wants to play a fair game, then Aluren shines the most because it can plays the fair game, I think, the best because of the Cavern Harpier interaction with all your creatures and making value out of it and trading up with stuff like that. And also have the unfair plan, so you're possible. It's like, it's the fair, it's a card for the fair decks that to beat the unfair decks.
Sure, to keep in check the crazy combo stuff.
And people against you have to put him in, and it's always a 2-for-1. And when you're doing 2-for-1s all the time with Shardless Agent, Baleful Strix, Cavern Harpier doing like it, then the Strix get a 3-for-1, 4-for-1, and so on. People get behind on card advantage. And with the sideboard, I try to hit more like the combo decks like Storm, Elves, Reanimator, different land matchups, and I have also card for fair matchups like, I don't know, a Fatal Push and Abrupt Decay, and Dread of Night to have some against the fair matchups. But it's more like combo oriented and try to beat the combo decks.
Okay, crystal clear. So I have a question about Cabal Therapy here. Why Cabal Therapy and not, for instance, Thoughtseize? Why this discard spell?
That's a good question because I think it depends on my taste, because I like Cable Therapy more because Thoughtseize has the advantage of you just see the hand and just take every card you want to take for lands.
Yeah, well, one card, unfortunately, not every card you want to take, but just one. But you can choose.
Yeah,
unless it's a land, you can choose.
In Cable Therapy, you just name a card, and you don't see the hand before, so you have to guess what your opponent has. And I think I have a good understanding of what's important in the matchups, and if the opponent has 2 copies of it in his hand, then you get both copies of it. Normally, you just say forcible, because then then they both discuss 2 forcible if they have 2, because if you Thoughtseize, you just take 1, they still have the protection up. But the most important part about Cable Therapy is not just have the guess right or just take the card, it's the flashback card.
Okay.
You just, once you look at his hand, know what's up to, and you try to do something in this turn, you cast this card, and then you have access to it again. So like, if they're 2 turns later, drew the card you don't want to, if you miss in the first try, they can still have it 2 turns later. So then you can just do something with your creature. You don't need any more Baleful Strix. Sometimes sacrifice the Death Chain, make mana, sacrifice the Death Chain, name forcible again. Then they have it in your hand, discard it. So it's a card that can you use twice. It's like, I have 2 Cable Therapy, but I have 4 discard effects in my deck.
Okay, so this deck, when you play Aluren, you have actually specific targets for this card.
Yeah, sure.
So what you want to do is name those targets to make sure that your opponent doesn't have them.
Yeah.
So the fact that you hit or you don't hit, somehow, I wouldn't say it's the same because it's not true, but what I mean is, if you're looking for force of will, if you find one, you're okay. If you find two, you feel like it's a dream. Yeah. But if you find none, it's still all right because you know they don't have a force of will.
Yes.
And you can use it later on thanks to the flashback ability. So the flashback ability fits perfectly with the strategy of your deck.
Yeah, because this deck can more doing the value-orientated game, and you're fine with just making, I don't know, card disadvantage by just not hitting anything. So it's fine. You don't lose anything. I think you gain more than you lose anything because you gain information. And information is the most valuable about everything, I think.
Sure. And knowing what your opponent is up to in Magic is definitely crucial. That's for sure.
And if you know they can do this or this and this, and you can play around it around this. And like I said, you can use it again. You can use it twice because you can then sacrifice a creature, and then maybe then you hit something. And even if you don't hit something, it's still fine because you have more information. And probably if you have the second time the information, you win the game because then you can cast your Aluren.
Okay. Pretty clear. Fairy Macabre, Surgical Extraction. This is the section of your sideboard that deals with the graveyard.
Yeah, and more.
And Graphic Cage as well. You're right. So quite a difference here in the way. Well, these cards behave in a pretty similar way, but they're not exactly the same.
Yes.
So why did you go for this kind of split? 2-1-1.
The Fairy Macabre has it's a creature. It's a 3-mana converted cost 3-mana creature that can also get flashed in with Aluren if you have it in your hand.
And it's a black permanent as well.
And it's a black permanent, so it fills the role of the combo strategy. Otherwise, it's not a spell that you play. So if they have the black-red animator has this Chancellor.
Sure.
And you don't have to pay for it. So it gets around this triggered ability to remove the cards in the graveyard. Other is Surgical Extraction. It's like you have to pay 2 life for it, but it's still a spell you play, and you have to pay 1 more mana.
Sure, you need to have 1 mana.
Yes,
to actually play the card anyway.
And if he starts, he's on the play, and he does show his Chancellor, do Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate, and then you have Surgical, you look kind of bad. So there is Fairy Macabre gets around it and can remove their Crystal Brand they want to Reanimate, I think. What's good about Surgical is that you have in some matchups you want to remove the permanents. Some, I don't know, in lands you want to get rid of the Punishing Fire or Life from the Loam. There is some cards you want to get rid of, and Surgical is the perfect answer for that. Sometimes I play the Mirror.
Aluren Mirror. Yeah.
Aluren Mirror doesn't come up very often, but it comes up, and you want to discard a Cavern Harpy, and then you want to remove the Cavern Harpy from the deck, then you're safe. You win the game by just valuing or comboing because they can't anymore.
Okay. But 1 Surgical is enough
to
accomplish this.
I think Legacy is so open that you can't just say, okay, I play just 3 of this, because you have many different decks that have graveyard interactions, but you can't cover this all with Surgical Extractions.
Okay.
And you have a wide range of cards because they are fit for this matchup and fit for this matchup. And I like Surgical, but it doesn't win the game by itself in every of these graveyard-based matchups. So you have a wider card range of different cards you want, like Fairy Macabre. It's like for, again, around Reanimator, but still for lands, removing these cards in the graveyard. Surgical is like the best card, I think, but has a disadvantages with... it's a spell. It's just doing the graveyard, doesn't do anything. Valuing you out, and the Gravedigger's Cage is like more Reanimator stuff. You can find it with your Clayton's Crane because it's an artifact. That's a bonus as well.
That's another synergy that is pretty useful. Yeah, definitely.
And for Dredge, then Icarus and stuff like this don't go back, and these 2 cards can't interact with that.
Yeah, because Dredge every now and then pops up again. Yes, people remember that. You think Dredge is gone forever, and then all of a sudden you have 1 or 2 players coming up with a Dredge and big tournaments. And maybe they even go up to day 2 or even more than that, because nobody expects them to be there.
To be good.
Because to be good as well.
I think right now there is many graveyard hate because there are reanimator and stuff like
Yes.
this. But they choose then they have cards like these two in the deck and not cards like this, and they can handle at some point some graveyard interactions, but they can't handle all. And Gravedigger's Cage is for handling all, and
Okay.
even for the reanimator matchup and something like this, there's Gravedigger's Cage is
Yeah.
really good.
Gravedigger's Cage can also help you actually against other decks,
Yes.
other type of combo decks.
Yes.
Any deck that runs Green Sun Zenith, for instance,
Yes.
or
Like elves.
elves. Yeah.
Elves
That's
is
what I
pretty
was.
important.
Yeah. Okay, so you can also use that for other purposes. So basically, this is like the core of your graveyard hate, and these two are somehow the tuning pieces, depending
Yes.
on which
Yes.
matchup you're actually facing.
Yes.
So 2+1 or 2+1, or maybe all four, then depending on
Depending on what deck
your
you're
yeah, absolutely. Okay, very good. Let's go to spot removers here. 2 Fatal Push.
Yes, you have 2 Fatal Push and 1 Abrupt Decay.
And 1 Abrupt
also
Decay.
a spot removal.
The Abrupt Decay is pretty self-explanatory. You want to have access to 4
Yes,
when
it's
you
like-
need to deal with a certain number of permanents, different type of permanents, and you want to have a solution that catches them all.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But what about a Fatal Push? Why this removal?
That's more for the Delver matchups, because there is Delver always running around. There's different versions of Delver. Bug Delver is probably the most used right now, and it kills Delver itself. It kills Leovold if you crack a fetch land, and it kills Tarmogoyfs. It's the most efficient card, and yeah, that's all it is. It's the best removal spell probably.
Yeah, probably one of the best in Legacy right now. I mean, Salty Plowshare is still maybe at the podium, but this one is getting really close.
The best black removal
True,
spell.
you don't really have access to white. Well, that's like Shaman Baby, but Caracas. But yeah, it's not the main part of your mana base. I totally understand it. Okay, we go off the plan of keeping in check combos here with Dread of Night.
It's like for
I see Dread of Night and I think about Death in Taxes.
yeah, it's like that's a combo deck on its own. I think it's so popular right now that I want to have one access to the one card that can blow them out.
Yeah,
There
or at
is-
least keep them in serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is it kills almost every creature in the deck. Yeah, and they can't play it. It's like their recruiter is just a 3 mana tutor. It's still fine, but no creature anymore because its Italia is gone, and they have not so many creatures anymore. I think they have, if they play Sarah Avengers, or I don't know, there is many different cards that they can play, but Dread of Night keeps them on check. And having them, the creatures getting all smaller and or can't be played, then you have the more advantage because having them their Talia always in play, and you have Aluren cost 5 mana then.
Sure.
And it's almost uncastable because they're wasteland you or wish to import you, and then they get their plan. They can do whatever they want to do, and with Dread of Night you can just handle them. And it's a permanent, stays into play, can be bounced with Kevin Harpier, comes up.
Oh, that's also true. You
Yeah.
can even save it,
Yes.
if they try to destroy it.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
And yeah, so the things comes up, and I think Dread of Night is the best answer for it. There is arguments for Massacre.
Yes.
but
-2/-2 to all creatures, and you can play for
Yeah.
free
if you have a
opponent.
swamp
Yeah.
and you open the planes, I think, or
Yes,
something.
yes. If your opponent controls the planes, you control a swamp. Yeah, that's right.
But it's a one-time wrath, and yeah, I think that's
You
not
prefer
enough.
this one because this is a permanent that
Yes,
stays, and
yes.
your opponent has to find an answer to
And
it.
it costs just 1 mana, so
Sure.
it's efficient.
Even
yeah.
turn one.
Even
that.
turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to play it like if they just play some creatures, and then you just play it, and then you kill like 2 or 3 creatures, and it's even got value out of it. But if you play turn 1 because you're afraid of, I don't know, some shenanigans happens, I don't know what can happen, but people get creative sometimes.
Yes, sure.
Then you just want to have it in play.
Okay. Safe choice, definitely. All right, Mindbreak Trap. 2 Mindbreak Trap.
Yeah, that's the newest addition to the sideboard because elves, and that's mostly for elves and for storm. Because these are probably the worst matchups for Aluren because they are also combo decks, but they are faster than you.
Okay.
Because they're just killing by turn 2 or turn 3, and if you have a Deathlight Gem, you can kill by turn 3, or you normally kill by turn 4. So the difference between one turn is huge, that you have need access to something that can handle storm or elves.
Okay.
They have this card as well, so it's not a card that you always win with it when you have it in your hand, because they can Thoughtseize, they can Cable Therapy or Duress you, and they get rid of it. But you have more cards with 4 Force of Will and 2 Mindbreak Traps, so the odds are higher that you draw them into your starting hand or in the top, I don't know, 10 cards of your library.
Okay.
And that's why you want 2 more Mindbreak Traps to your Force of Wills.
Mm-hmm. Did you consider other options before actually choosing Mindbreak Trap? I don't know, other kind of counters or way to contain?
Because counters have to be cheap, and it's like Daze or Counterspell,
Yes.
but they are interact with your Shard's Agent. So
Okay.
you
okay.
can't play cards that cost 2 or less, that don't do anything when you Shardless into them.
That's definitely a very important point. I mean, you have to understand and the interactions between the different cards in your main deck. So this is the choice that you go for because of the mana cost.
Yes.
Not only because of the effect, of course,
Yes.
but yeah, it fit perfectly the strategy of the deck and the way the deck is conceived in the first place. Very good. Carpet of Flowers. Against anything that is blue, more or less.
Yes, more or less against anything that's... No, it's like for mana disruption strategies and for combo piece combos. Where you have, for example, for Storm, it gives you the option to maybe combo on turn 2.
Okay, be faster than them.
Be faster than them.
Okay.
And for mana denial strategies that are blue, like Delver. Delver, they want to stifle you, they want to wasteland you, they want to play their 3/2 flyer that beats you every turn. For them, you play this card and you have access to a lot of mana. You then outvalue them or outgrind them, because when you can play more cards than them, their 3/2 flyers get blocked by one of your flyers, and then it's died, and then their clock is gone, and you still play more cards, and every land they play, it's like a land more for you, and then you can play more lands. So it's like
it gives you great advantage.
Yeah, it gives you a great advantage and let you be faster when you want to play your Aluren.
Okay. Last card, Caracas here.
Yeah, there are problematic legendaries in Legacy. It's like you want them for Talia, you want them for Marin Large, you want them for Griselbrand, for Emrakul. They're problematic creatures in here. And yeah, Caracas get 2.4 with Traverse, and it's like a spell. You don't need to pay mana, but you have to put it into play. So it can get wastelanded or something like this. But I think Caracas is worth playing because it handles all the problem. Reanimator, for example, is also...
Sure. Reanimator as well, and many of the creatures they play are legendary creatures, of course. And this is land somehow... how can I put this? Very effective against lands because you can bounce the Merit Lage token. So just goodbye.
Yeah.
Also other cards. And maybe is actually a land that not everybody would expect from you.
Yeah. I'm Sultai, I'm Buck colors, and it's a white land, so it doesn't fit into the colors I play. But I think for me it's like a colorless land that plays I play it just for the effect, and I think the effect is so strong, and you need them for if they're reanimated Griselbrand and just play this land and bounce it back. It's worth playing.
Okay, pretty clear. Right, we said it all for the sideboard. We had this quite interesting overview. We can now discuss the specific matchup that we have for this episode. First one I'd like to start with is Aluren versus Esper Deathblade. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what are your objectives in Game 2 when you're facing this deck?
My objective is more playing the grindy game. I think comboing off is hard because they have disruption like discard spells, Thoughtseize, Cable Therapies, and some counter spells like Force of Will, Counterspell itself, and sometimes Daze or Spell Pierce. So getting just to your combo is really hard. And their plan is to disrupt you anyway and getting the control of the game. So you try to get as much value as possible, play around as much as possible against every card you see. You know what they want to do. They want to play a Druid Nemesis and want to equip it with a sword or the GT, or have his Better Skull into play and just beat you down with this. So you have to prepare with that in mind, that you want to kill him or outvalue him, and at the same time beat these cards to the core. So that's why when I go to game 2, I sideboard all my Forcible out.
All right. Okay. We get to that.
Okay.
We'll ask you exactly what's going to happen when you are on the play on the draw, depending on if you won or you lost game 1, of course. But these are the objectives. So play a grander game, longer game, and try to make sure that they don't execute a game plan. So you prevent them from executing their strategy, trying somehow to take control of the game.
Yes.
And control of the board, probably, and establish your presence on the board with your permanents, with your creatures, starting your synergies.
Yes.
So prevent them from executing the game plan.
Yeah, just prevent them from taking over the game.
Okay.
So they want to control the game, and if you can manage to control it instead of them, then you have a big advantage, because they are more proactive than reactive, I think.
Okay. So this is a sort of like a battle for control at the end of the day. All right, very good. So let's go a little bit in depth with the cyber plans then. Let's assume that you won game 1. Mm-hmm. So game 2, you're going to be on the draw. And what do you side out and what do you side in this matchup?
Because it's a fair matchup, you don't need your Forcibles. Always just take out the Forcibles and put in the Fatal Push, the Abrupt Decay, the 4th one, and Cable Therapy. The 4th Decay is because they have problematic permanents like the Swords, and sometimes they play Liliana. They will maybe spot in Piffing Needle or there are many different cards that they can play you want to get rid of. The Fatal Push is for killing their creatures, like sometimes you want to kill a Stoneforge Mystic, because then they can't put their Better Skull into play, or you want to kill their Deathrite Shaman, because when they're Deathblade, they have the Deathrite Shaman. That's one of the problematic creature. Sometimes they have different kinds of creatures they plays. It depends, if they play with green, sometimes there is a banned version, or as
Sure.
No, they have many creatures you want to kill, and you want to kill the Swords holders. All in all.
Okay, so the targets can change a bit depending on what version you're actually playing against.
You will always kill the Deathrite Shaman on turn 1 if you have it.
Sure. It's so strong, you have to get rid of it immediately. Yes, absolutely. You're running yourself for a reason.
And that's why you just kill the Swords holder and try not to get hit by them once, because they make so much value that sometimes you can't get back into the game. Mm-hmm. And the one Cable Therapy is for, as I mentioned, sometimes they're put out for their Forcibles, sometimes they just keep them in, and you're still a combo deck and want to push out your combo, and if you can resolve Aluren, you pretty much win the game.
Yes, because you can win at instant speed, so it's really hard for them to interact with you.
And that's why naming Forcible or naming problematic cards like that they can outvalue you, like, for example, Snapcaster Mage is a problematic creature. Mm-hmm. Going Swords of Blowshes into Snapcaster Swords of Blowshes is sometimes so hard that you can't come back with it when they kill 2 of your best creatures. Normally, for example, I have a situation I played in GP Vegas. I saw his hand with Cable Therapy, and I saw Snapcaster Mage. I needed my creatures in play for the next turn to win in the next turn, and he had a Snapcaster in hand. That's the only creatures that I didn't like, but he don't have the Swords of Blowshes in his graveyard or in his hand. So I was like, okay, and don't draw it yet. And he was like going into his draw phase, draw it. So the Swords of Blowshes is one guy, Swords was the other guy with Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of Snapcaster.
Yes, you have to be careful of some cards that are hard against you, and Snapcaster Mage is one of the cards that can just kill you right away with this sequence of plays. But you have to get rid of problematic permanents or other cards that in their hand, and Cable Therapy is, I think, the most efficient answer if you know what you have to face or need to get rid of. And I think that's something you learn when you play the deck more or have feelings for the deck and for the matchups.
Okay, totally understood. Let's assume now that you lost game 1, so game 2 is going to be on the play. Is your plan still the same, or does your plan change?
On the play, it's the same.
Okay,
As we mentioned at the start, it's a combo-oriented sideboard. So,
Okay.
and Esper Deathblade is more a fair deck and try to prey on the combo decks, that you don't have that much tools against them. I would love to have more tools against this deck playing a GTR myself, but I don't have any slots in the sideboard right now for
Okay.
this.
it's not worth the
That's
present.
That's not worth. Normally, you have a good matchup against fair decks. I think Esper Deathblade is the hardest one because it has so many different tools that can interact with you. But I think only have these 4 cards, removing the 4 Force of Will and having these little interactions is enough that you can win the game, win the match with it.
Okay. Let's assume now that you played against a different version of Esper Deathblade, and you saw it was like a more controlish build.
Yeah, then I would take the second Cable Therapy and remove
Okay.
one Aluren.
Okay.
Because Aluren gets stranded in your hand, they discard one, or I think it's not the game plan A anymore because you can't really depend on playing it and then just winning the game, because I had many games where you have a Kevin Harpier, for example, and I can't play it because I don't have any more creatures, and having still Aluren in my hand and then have no options anymore, and with removing one Aluren or even trim one on the Cavern Harpier, you can just think of one of these combo pieces you can put out for the second Cable Therapy. Depends on if you see how controlling he is and if you need
Okay.
to control more or grind more. But I recommend going with one excess Aluren out of the deck, because 4 mana is pretty hard even against some decks that don't want to strain your mana.
All right, true. And what will be the key cards that in game 1 give you the signal that they play a more controlish build? Snapcaster, probably. Snapcaster Mage.
If I see Snapcaster Mage, they have more possibility to control the game and grind out, and I think that's a good sign to look for it. If they have Snapcaster Mage, some play Liliana.
Okay.
Liliana of the Veil.
Okay.
And if they play something like this, then there is, you have to trim one of your Expansia cards to play more mana efficient cards, and
So if you see cards like Snapcaster Mage or Liliana of the Veil, your plan is slightly different. You side out 4 Force of Will and 1 Aluren, and you board in 2 Fatal Push, 1 Abrupt Decay, and 2 Gamma Therapy. That's essentially...
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, I would have bought in more, but we don't have the slots in this specific sideboard. Then you have to trim on other stuffs to put more for the fair matchups. But I think right now there is more unfair stuff going on then.
Okay, so it's not worth tuning too much your sideboard for this kind of matchup. It's rather more important to have the relevant answers to combo decks, because there's much more combo decks going around right now. Speaking about combo decks, the next matchup that we're going to discuss involves actually a combo deck. We're talking about red-green lens. So yeah, let's talk about this one now. Aluren versus red-green lens. The one with Punishing Fire and the crazy combo and stuff. What's your plan in game 2? What are your objectives when you're facing this deck?
My objectives are comboing faster than them.
Okay.
They're trying to win with the Marit Large token.
Yeah.
Dark Depths copying with Thespian Stage and then making this big flyer to just getting one hit. The good part about it, we have flyers too.
Yeah. And this token doesn't have trample.
And the token doesn't have trample. It's not like an Emrakul.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, we have flyers too, so they're having more hard time winning with their Marit Large token. Normally they just do it and just win by one shot, but we have, like, our decks, probably all flyers. We have Parasitic Strix, Balfour Strix, Cavern Harpier. They all fly, and Cavern Harpier is the best blocker against them because blocks Marit Large like all day long. You play it, make value out of it.
Sure.
Just when he attacks, you like bounce it back to your hand. So Marit Large is not that big of a problem, I think. The only problem is Punishing Fire. So you have to get rid of that. If you board against this deck, you have to be sure to get rid of of this card.
Okay.
Um,
So one of the objectives is making sure that they cannot use their punishing fire.
yes.
Okay. All right. So let's assume game 1 you won. So game 2 you're going to be on the draw. What do you side out and what do you side in?
So, because there are the combo-oriented version and play crop rotation and stuff like this, we keep in our fossils because we want to combo off and they try to disrupt us as well. That's why we keep them in and put out abrupt decays, 3 abrupt
Okay.
decays, and 1 land
Okay.
because we want to make Caracas a thing.
Okay. Any land or do you have a
A fetch
particular
land.
preference? Okay, a fetch land. Okay.
A fetch land because you want to keep your mana sources and
Okay. So for the purpose of displaying the cards in the video, I will just put a verdant catacomb. Is that okay with you?
yeah,
Okay.
just fetch land out of it.
Okay.
And we put in the 2 Fairy Macabre and Surgical Extraction because they have a Life of the Loam combo.
Sure.
And that's graveyard based, and if you can extract their combo land or Life from the Loam with Surgical Extractions, then, or even better, the Punishing Fire. The Punishing Fire annoys you the most because at some point it goes directly onto you and makes 2 damage. You have to be aware of your life trolls because always you bounce your Cavern Harpy, it's cost you 1 life, and they can do it all over again every turn. And for that, getting rid of that, it's the perfect answer. And now they have no more way of getting through your flying creatures or removing your flying creatures.
Okay.
And with that, you have your probably best win condition of
Yeah, sure. You managed to somehow put yourself in a safer position.
yes.
Okay.
And these 4 cards, I think this one of the better combo decks that you're facing is the Lance strategist because you don't have a hard time dealing with the Murray Large.
Okay.
That's why you don't have that many slots for this specific matchups because winning against them is not that hard against like winning against Storm. So I think that's one of the favorable matchups.
Okay. It's all about the punishing fire in the end.
It's all about
being
the
faster
fire.
than them.
Yes.
Okay.
Punishing Fire is the card that annoys you the most. It can kill or try to kill your creatures and your flying blockers. And if you get rid of it, you're perfect fine.
All right. Very good. Now, let's assume that you lost game 1. So game 2, you're going to be on the play. Are there any changes or is your sideboard plan still the same?
No, it's
Still the same.
Still the same.
Okay.
You still have forcible. You sometimes have to forcible 1 Punishing Fire or 1 Life from the Loam. Even they get it back. But I think it's still worth it.
All right. Very clear. Safe and sound. Okay. Right. So thank you very much, Joshua, for being here once again.
Thank you very much.
And a big thank you to all of you who've been watching this video. I hope you enjoyed because we surely did making it. And stay tuned on HEDRON.TV for more content to come. For now, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.